This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. I've been trying to bring in people to talk about different position groups in this draft class to kind of get a different perspective. And you know, when we get to the big boys, when we get to the trenches, I got to bring in Vach Lombardi. Vach, always a pleasure having you on. It seems like annually I have you on here to talk about the offensive line class. This class is interesting because I think the last couple of classes have been a little bit deeper than what it was in like 21, 22. So this class is interesting. The Browns pick at 54. When you look at the offensive linemen in that B class, right? Because you got the Joe Oss, the Tolisi Fuegas, all those guys are going to go early first. Then you have the guys who could go late first or fall in the second. Who are those guys to you?
Well, you know, I don't think tackle's all that deep. You know, there's a lot of people that say tackle is deep. I think tackle is thick. Pause. I think there's a lot of people just kind of all in one spot. You know what I mean? I think from from pick 4 to maybe like I'll say 63. There are tackles that I like. So once you get to that tier, Blake Fisher from Notre Dame is a guy that I like. Christian Jones, Texas, is another guy that I like. But there's a lot of players in that range that I can't stand that I know are going to go in that range, and you got to be careful. Like Patrick Paul from Houston is a guy that I'm constantly seeing people talk about. I don't see it with Patrick Paul. You know, he got long arms and he's humongous. But if you got long arms and you miss, that's a long time to reload them arms back. And he doesn't really have a good hold on how to use them. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, DeJuan Jones knows exactly how to use long arms, right? He's a black belt in long arm offensive line play. Patrick Paul likes to miss. Kingsley Sewell-Matea, kind of rough around the edges, right? Tackles like that in that range in particular. It could be hit or miss, but if it's not some of those first round guys, I'm not really touching tackle like that.
So you mentioned some of these guys back there. You mentioned Blake Fisher, Christian Jones. You think Christian Jones is going to go in the first, or do you think he's going to probably fall to like the second?
No. These guys I just mentioned, they're not first round guys, but in the event that you get past the first round dudes, you go, all right, this round is over. You know, Jordan Morgan is gone, Tyler Guyton, because somebody's going to see him as a first round pick. You know, once those guys are gone, like Mims and all those guys, now, all right, the Browns sitting at 58, 56, 54. So, yeah, guys that are in the 54 range, those are the people that we're, you know what I'm saying, talking about. Nah, Blake Fisher is not a first round pick. But I will say, Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma is being projected as a first round pick or whatever. I don't see it. I don't see first rounder in him. You know what I mean? I see him as a humongous player, a good footed athlete. He can move really well, but he doesn't have the nuances down. He doesn't have football black belt is what I call it. He doesn't have these okay, well, if I'm blocking this way, I got to get my head across, or if I'm angling this way, my hand has to be here. If I'm pass blocking, my palms can't be up because they're going to end up on the back of the defender. You know what I mean? Things like that. And he's played about 1,000 or some snaps, 1,200 snaps. So I'm like, man, where's the improvement coming from? So maybe he's not a player that picks it up really well. But like I just said, Blake Fisher from Notre Dame, I like his film more than Guyton's film. If people like Guyton, they like his upside. I'm not upside guy. I'm film guy. Christian Jones from Texas has better film. Blake Fisher from Notre Dame has better film. Let's see. Kieran Amagadeshie from Yale. I understand he's whooping the Holy Cross, Dartmouth, and Morgan State kids, but he at least got better film than Tyler Guyton. So yeah, those day 2 guys in particular can be interesting, but they're not first round picks. No.
With offensive line, there's like a delicate balance of, because there's some positions where you can project a lot of like skills that you can, you know, attach to a player later on. Well, with O-line, there's a level of skill that you probably need unless you're like a spectacular athlete at the position. And there's a level of upside that you need to project for, just given that, you know, there's going to be guys like Miles running around. It's going to be TJ Watts or guys like that. How do you balance that in your evaluation when you look at somebody? Because like Christian Jones, as you said, you look at the tape and you go, I could see that working in the NFL, but you don't necessarily know what that's going to look like just because he might not be athletic enough to kind of get to where he needs to consistently. And that might be something that hampers him versus like, who's somebody who's like a real upside guy in this draft? Amarius Mims, probably, because it's like
Okay,
8 games of tape.
Okay, so watch this. To your point, right? Tyler Guyton's one of those guys,
Mm-hmm.
to where he has the physical output to be the type of guy that works in the league, but he doesn't have the actual tape that I like to see. So you mentioned Mims, right? Mims is very rough around the edges. Mims doesn't have the best concept of where hands should be. But what I've seen from Mims is I've seen him line up and whoop people in the SEC. I've seen him have to sit down for a year. Georgia goes to the postseason. They go, oh, snap, emergency. We need somebody to play right tackle versus Ohio State. Steel Chambers is a dude. JT Tuimalau are dudes. And Armarius Mims comes in and deal with those guys, right? I always say, if you win ugly, it's your coach's job to teach you how to win pretty, right? I got to see what you look like. I got to see how you win. I got to see you in control, right? I don't see Tyler Guyton in control. So when I'm projecting Tyler Guyton to the next level, you may be an athlete, but the dudes that play for the Eagles are athletes too. The dudes that play for Pittsburgh are athletes too. You mentioned TJ Watt. Man, you just can't roll up against TJ Watt time. I was like, all right, I'm an athlete. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? You need some level of, okay, how do you win? What do you go to? What's your bread and butter? Troy Fautanu, left tackle from Washington. He can feint with the hands. He can bait you with the hands. Okay. Exchange, boom, trap, snatch technique with the hands. You know how Troy Fautanu wins. Talisi Fuaga, he wins with violence. Joe Alt wins with violence. Olu Fashiono wins with technique, nuance, switching up his hand techniques, right? You know how guys win. So on the next level, the idea that you even have a game plan to win and that you can execute it versus blue chip college players, that at least tells me, okay, you probably should get a little stronger. We can make you bigger. We can make you stronger. But do you have a plan? Man, Tyler Guyton just raw, man. He's upside guy. You know what I mean? When you hear people talk about Tyler Guyton, hey, he got great athleticism, man. He projects to be great if he can fix it. I don't want to hear that. Armarius Mims could be great if you fix him, but I at least see him whooping people on film. I see these guys winning on film. I don't see Tyler Guyton winning on film. So when you talk about translating to the next level, DeJuan Jones won on film every single rep. Yeah, he's humongous. Yeah, he's big as hell, and everybody was talking about it, right? You was around, Quincy. I was here last year. Oh, well, what's he gonna do versus the quick twitchy pass rusher? Cut the film on. He beats the quick twitchy pass rusher with length. That's how he wins. I can't tell you how Tyler Guyton wins.
It's very interesting. Other names, like you kind of mentioned what Kingsley Sumatia and what's my boy name? Kieran.
Kieran, I'm a
Kieran,
like that. Yeah.
I'm a Gaji. Yeah, I'm a Gaji. There we go. I've been
Kieran,
from Yale.
Yeah,
there. How do you project some of these guys? Like Roger Rosengarten, he played right tackle at Washington. Goes to Senior Bowl, has a good Senior Bowl, plays a little bit on the left side there. How do you project somebody who primarily played right, like to see if they can play left, and what issues can pop up when you flip a guy? Because like Jed Wills is somebody we all liked at Alabama. You flip him to the left, and he's not bad, but I think there's some issues that he's had since flipping to the left side with getting beat inside a little bit easier than he did, or at least projected to at Alabama. When you look at these guys and you project them for that, like to flip, what do you look for and what do you worry about when you project somebody to flip that side?
Hey man, you just have to work these guys out. That's the hard part, right? I can look at the film and be like, oh, he can play guard because he can dig, he can dig guys out of A gap, he can pull, he can down block. Oh, he can play tackle because he works well on the island. He's good with his timing. He's good navigating this area or whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, he can play center because he can, chop the defense in half. He can climb and do these plays. He's good on screens. He's he can deal with the bull rush if somebody's, lined up over him, right? It's just certain traits you can look for. Now, sides is a whole nother conversation because it's like if you've been boxing for 10 years, orthodox, and they go, all right, box southpaw, but don't use your jab. Okay, there's a lot of thinking involved now. Okay, well, I can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, over here, everything's natural. Everything's muscle memory. Everything is how I'm used to doing it. Now I got to go boom, boom. Don't cross this foot. Bam, bam, bam. And some people pick that up quickly. Senior Bowl is a fantastic resource for that. I love to see guys go to Senior Bowl, and I hate that Kieran Amagadijia,
Amagachi.
Kieran Amadilajah, right? I hate that he didn't go to the scene. He was probably hurt or something like that. But
Mm.
we would have at least seen those dudes be like, all right, line up at the left tackle, line up at right tackle. Hey, just for giggles, line up at guard just to kind of see what you look like. Fuaga did that. Fuaga lined up on both sides. He was great on both sides. Jackson Powers Johnson lined up at center. He lined up on both guards. All right, cool. You can do it. Patrick Paul can't do it. Patrick Paul is only a left side player, and I already had reservations about him. Tyler Guyton cannot do left side stuff. It makes sense because he got a hard time doing right side stuff also. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it just depends. Jordan Morgan is left side, right side guy. So Senior Bowl to do it, but you have to see these guys do it. You have to watch them have these reps. Christian Jones, I'm going to constantly say Christian Jones' name because people are looking at him as if he's a fourth round pick, but he got third round film. He got second round film. And at the Senior Bowl, Christian Jones played both sides and he was adequate on both sides. He got wins on both sides. So at least I know that. But just for the regular dudes, like, me and you, Quinns, we just, pull up the YouTube or something. We watch some All 22 or something. We don't know. We just got to see him do it first.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of Roger Rosengarten? He was another standout at the Senior Bowl.
I think all the Washington guys were, they worked well in tandem. But
Mm.
sometimes sometimes working in tandem is better than you just being by yourself, isolated, right? So Troy Fautanu is a player that I think he's good by himself. It don't matter what, he's just on his island, cool. But Rosengard, I think he works well in concert with whoever it is that he's working with. He's not some study guy. Oh, I just give me Kayvon Thibodeau. I'll shut him down. I don't think he's one of those guys, but I think, hey, give him, offering him, some chip block. It'll be cool. Hey, let's combo here. Oh, okay. You gonna be on my back hip when we do this outside zone work? Cool. Let's do that. I think some players just work better in the whole concept of their play or whatever, or the scheme. I don't want to look at Rosengard as if he's just some, you know, let me run ISO, I'll do it myself kind of guy. You know what I mean? But he's a cool player, good size, pretty solid movement. I wish he was a little bit more, gritty and powerful or whatever. But yeah, cool dude. Cool
Yeah.
dude.
Well, let's talk about guard here because I think the Browns are going to be looking for some interior offensive linemen as well. Just with Joe Bitonio getting older, Wyatt Teller's contract getting expensive, um, they're going to be keeping an eye out for it. Just in general, what are your thoughts of this guard class? Because it's not a top heavy class at all.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a cool class.
Yeah.
Center is much deeper than guard is this year. But as far as the guards go, I think there are guards that can play for you. If Graham Barton is not playing center, I think he'll be a top tier guard for somebody. Christian Haynes, Christian Mahogany. I don't have as much enthusiasm in my voice about guards than I do the tackles or whatever, right? Tackles get me super excited in this class, but hey, man, the guards are cool, and you can probably take some of these tackles and make them play guard. I know there are teams that look at J.C. Latham as if he's a guard. They don't want him playing right tackle. They just want to put him at guard. So, I mean, it depends on when you get him. If you're in the third round or something like that, Cooper Beebe will be fantastic for you. I think Cooper Beebe will go second round though. Cooper Beebe from Kansas State, built like a fire hydrant, but he can actually move a little bit. Powerful, nasty dude. And then something else too we have to worry about is how the league values guards. So I can really like you as a guard, Christian Mahogany, Boston College. I can really like you as a guard, but just the idea of guards just kind of go later in the draft. You know what I'm saying? So if you're the Browns, then good for y'all. You can find your starting guard in round 3 or 4 or something like that.
Who do you think would be available there at 85?
85. I think they all will be there. Christian Haynes will be there. Christian Mahogany
Mm.
probably be there. 85. Mason McCormick. I kind of like Mason McCormick a little bit, South Dakota State, and I normally don't deal with the little bitty schools like that, but he works out with Duke Manyweather, and
Mm.
he's responsible for taking stray offensive linemen with problems and within a 6 to 8 week program, they come out brand new people. So Mason McCormick, I watch him on, and of course he's playing against the little bitty schools, right? He's at, I'm saying, South Dakota State. But I had reservations about him, but he's been dealing with Duke. So I just trust Duke Manyweather. I trust his program and what he does. And if he says that Mason McCormick is going to be a good player, then I could deal with him. But in that range, 86, those are the kind of guys that'll be there.
All right. We talked about last year how kind of DeJuan Jones was one of your favorite prospects
He was
in
the
that
favorite.
class.
He was number one, Quincy. He was number one. And people, I ain't gonna make this about me. Go ahead.
Nah, man, talk your shit. But you talked about how DeJuan Jones was kind of like that guy you pounded the table for at any position, if you were in that position. Who this year in this draft, or what guys this year in this draft that, if I know you're a Cowboys fan, if you in the Cowboys draft room and they're on the board at whatever spot, you're pounding the table saying, hey, they need to take this dude. He's going to be a difference maker in the next level.
See, on the board, banging the table this year sucks so bad because all your favorite guys are gonna go where they should go. The Cowboys won games. We back here at 24. My favorite offensive lineman, DeJuan Jones, last year, 32 teams had a shot. Oh, 32 teams had a shot. And a blinking light that says draft me just keep falling down the board. I don't know. I'm just a YouTube, whatever. But all of my favorite guys are probably gonna go early. But if we just talking about dudes in my range, you talk about me, Cowboys, 24th overall, back in the first round. Jordan Morgan's a guy that I really like. Jordan Morgan from Arizona. Just watching his film, pure left tackle, really good at the lateral blocks, reach blocking, down blocking. Technician in the pass game. He's another guy working the hands, setting you up, setting traps and all that. And I love, watching offense, or just anybody really, competition. Who are you against? Common opponents. I need to know, how you rank versus your peers versus common opponents. And Liatu Latu is my number one edge guy. Liatu Latu from UCLA. And the two tackles in this class that, and look, don't a whole bunch of tackles have success versus Liatu Latu. But if anybody had any kind of success versus him, it's Jordan Morgan from Arizona, and it is Talisi Fuaga, who is my number one tackle from Oregon State. He had a fantastic game versus Latu, and Jordan Morgan did also.
The last thing I want to get your thoughts on, we kind of touched on it earlier in the video. More and more, I hear people suggest, oh, well, we should just flip this person to this side because there's been success doing that with some notable names in the league. I always feel like that's a underestimation of like how difficult that switch is, because I think people just kind of imagine it like it's Madden, like, oh, he's an 85 overall here. You flip him, he's going to be this there. But it's a whole different game. Can you explain, like, you kind of mentioned it with like the Southpaw thing. Can you explain to people why that's not just as smooth of a button to hit as one would assume? And it's the same, like, guard might be a little bit more interchangeable, but even like some of the same principles apply to that.
So, first and foremost, in football, you have, well, just in general, right? Just no matter what you're doing, repetition is king. Repetition. If you at practice, you're just constantly getting reps. If you're off season, mini camp, whatever, OTAs, whatever, you're constantly getting reps. Okay. So just imagine, we'll just keep it regular for humans, right? So you're right-handed, right? And you write with your right hand. And you're used to just writing standard letter A, B, C, D with your right hand, right? Now it's like, okay, you're drafted here. Write cursive with your left hand. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, you could do it. If you practice, for a while, sure. After 3 years, maybe you possibly can. But dog, it is so tough to just change dexterities because offensive line has so much that happens now, that happens quickly. So if I'm on the left side, and this is really something else that make centers good, right? If you're on the left side, your right foot is up, which is your post foot. That's your power side. So if anybody's coming inside of you, that's your anchor side. That's your work you back outside side. I may throw different, different attacks from that side. Okay, well, if I'm playing against Josh Sweat and I know he likes to fake my outside to work back inside. Your hand combination from that stance may look something like measure, strike, recover, hand back down, and then step back inside.
Mm.
So when you think about that sequence of steps, measure, strike high, cross his face, back outside, recover, step inside. Boom, 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 boom. Do the Macarena. Boom, 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 boom. These are real life steps. Tyron Smith did it all year last year from the left tackle. Measure, cross, catch, down, back, work inside. If you go to the left side, I mean, pardon me, if you go to the right side now and go block Brandon Graham, now your left foot is your post foot.
Mm.
Now your left foot is your post foot. If Brandon Graham works outside, you're so used to striking right hand first. Inside and outside changes everything, but you're so used to going right hand, bam, bam, bam. Right hand high, measure, right hand, right hand, right hand. Now Brandon Graham is doing this. Now you got to go, And meanwhile, he's going full speed. He's flying because he doesn't have to think about what you're doing. He's working on his plan. He has a plan. He has a counter. He has a third plan. He's full speed. You have to go. So if you're not used to working both sides, you cannot cross your feet. As an offensive lineman, you're not allowed to cross your feet because we're not powerful when we cross our feet. Our feet got to be shoulder width apart, post foot up. If I'm blocking Brandon Graham and I switch my feet, I hit the ground. I'm not strong all of a sudden. You see what I'm saying? So unless you're somebody that's used to playing both sides, it's tough, man. You got 1,200 college reps at left tackle. That's it. All right, play right tackle now. Hell nah. What you mean? Which gives guys like Mims the advantage because Mims don't have a whole bunch of reps playing either tackle. You know what I mean? He don't have habits already. He doesn't have that much repetition. He ain't been practiced because he's been hurt, right? So I had a conversation with Duke Manyweather, and he was like, "Sure, Mims can play left and right tackle because he doesn't have bad habits built up, or he just doesn't have habits built up in general." But man, if you Joe Alton, you played 2,000 snaps at left tackle, and Tennessee draft you. All right, what's the name playing over here? So play over here, Joe Alt. That's ridiculous. That's tough. Or Rashawn Slater definitely not gonna move. So if the Chargers draft you, you gotta play right tackle. Man, Talisi Fuaga stepping in at right tackle is gonna be easy for him. Oh man, I've been measure, strike, hand down, boom this whole time. I know the moves. Boom, 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 boom. But if you move them to left tackle, it'd be different. But what I was saying earlier, this where centers are important, right? Some people think centers are just bad guards. Centers have to work both sides. I play center. So if I'm in my even stance and somebody's in front of me, then you just pick up your feet and attack. But what if it's a player on this side? Okay, well, you got to slide this side. So now this is your post foot. Your right side is your new power side. What if it's somebody on this side? You step this side. This is your new up foot. So now it changes both directions. So centers got to play with both post foots. Guards can't always do that. Tackles can't always do that. So everything, I tell people all the time, man, guards aren't just bad tackles and centers aren't just bad guards, and left side ain't the right side. So if you if you JC Latham, right? Like if you're a right tackle and some teams say, hey, you think you could play left guard? Man, good luck to you. Good luck to you trying to get a move like that.
Another question I've just been curious about when it comes to offensive line play, because we never really hear about it outside of quarterback, his dominant hand. Like, does it matter if you left or right-handed? Like, does it make any position easier on the offensive line?
It matters and I'm just talking about me. It mattered for me because I'm right-handed. So my right side feels better. So I played center, but I was a better left side player because my right side is my upside. So I can drive off that up foot, right? I felt more powerful driving off that up foot. Some people like it differently. Like their right side is their more dexterous side or their more dominant side. So they wanted that side to be their kick foot or their travel foot or their back foot, right? So it doesn't matter because you can have an offensive line full of right-handed players. But you just have to train it. And, you can if you're right-handed, you can write with your left hand. You just got to practice it long enough. So I don't know. I've never asked how do teams dictate whether whether somebody's a left guard or a left side player or just a right side player. I just always thought, all right, we got to do that left tackle. Come play, come play right. You know what I mean? But once you get set in your ways, that's what I think you end up being. Hey, I just been playing left guard my whole life. I'll just be here. I've been playing right tackle my whole life. I'll just be here. But I've been on the offensive line with all right-handed people, and some people had to make adjustments.
It's interesting. It's just a bunch of small shit you don't really think about with the offensive line that really does affect it, right? Because it's one thing we've been talking about Jed Wills, and then somebody brought it up to me that he's left-handed. I was like, that feels like something that matters, given like that he still struggles with like that switch to the left side at times. But it, especially like with quicker edges, that like Alex Highsmith always gives that man hell.
Well, if he's left-handed and he's on the left side,
Yeah.
So just think about it, man. Some coaches teach things differently, right? There's this thing called high hand, low hand, right? So what the concept of high hand, low hand is transferring a D lineman's energy, right? So if I'm walking towards you and you put your hand in the middle of me, I'll just be here. But if you put your hand on this shoulder, I turn this way a little bit, or on this shoulder, and I just keep walking into you, I would just turn that way. That's the idea. So if I'm a left tackle, the idea of high hand, low hand is if I kick outside, I want my outside hand to your outside shoulder to turn you into me. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So if I'm a right tackle and I'm right hand dominant, that may work for me, right? I may boom and I may be able to latch on to you. Jedrick Wills being left-handed, playing right side, maybe he's had to work on that. Maybe he's had to put reps in to be like, all right, if I'm left-handed, then my left hand is just going to be, okay, I'll strike with my right, but I'm going to latch on to you with my left hand because I'm powerful here, because I'm strong here. So maybe that's my pull hand. Maybe maybe something like that. But now you switch sides. Okay, so now if I'm left-handed and I strike with my left hand, I don't want to strike with my left hand.
Yeah.
I want to strike with my weaker hand and latch on to a hip or latch on to a wrist or latch on to a bicep with my more dominant hand. That was a problem I had. I'm right-handed. And like I just said to you earlier, I hated moving left because moving left, that's my offhand. My right hand is my offhand. So I would grab wrist with my offhand to keep pass rushers from getting to my shoulders, right? I would grab wrist with my offhand. I would grab a bicep. I would grab an elbow. Man, you'd be surprised how much you miss with your weak hand. Like, you right-handed?
Yeah, I'm right-handed.
Man, pick up your phone and just text with your left hand.
Dog.
It feels stupid. You know
But my dad's left-handed, and he would always live in houses that were like built for people who are, so the light switches are on the wrong side and the staircases are flipped. Like, he always wanted the inverted apartment wherever he lived. And it will always, like, I still like have issues being like, okay, that's right. Because I was growing up trying to use a left-handed dude's world, but I'm right-handed, so it just kind of like there's always that hesitation there, and it's like stuff like that matters.
It's a weird world, So if you Jedrick, I mean, in real life, if you on the left side and you left-handed, yeah, your hands may be more dominant over there, but maybe your feet are funny over there. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said earlier, if you're constantly thinking. If you're constantly thinking and the other dude across from you is going full speed, you're going to lose a lot, So maybe he just got to put in the work.
That is so interesting. Great having Vach Lombardi on. Make sure y'all check him out. Vach, let them know where to find you, man.
Hey, man, VOCHLOMBARDI on all platforms, on Twitter and on YouTube. I was, talking about different guys that we had a convo with. If you like offensive line, Duke Manyweather is like Jedi Sensei O-line dude, so tap in with him. Me and him had a conversation about some of these prospects or whatnot. So if you just like offensive line in general, that's where the interview's at. Come over and see me. Appreciate you, Quince.
Oh yeah, every time I have Vach on, we talk about offensive linemen. The Browns draft somebody he likes, so hopefully that trend continues.
Every time. And then look, Jedrick Wills wasn't always bad. You know what I'm saying? He was really fantastic at a point, but I don't know what y'all did. I don't know. Maybe he got lazy. Maybe he started working at it. But
I think he dude who can't be like, because this year he was fine. Once the team start going on a win streak, I just think he's dude who can't be on a bad team. Like you got to be winning for him to like play at his level, because if like when the team like 5 wins,
yeah,
he start packing it in a little bit.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like,
Well, long story short, I haven't been wrong about the Browns offensive lineman yet. So appreciate that, me on, man.
all right, hopefully we don't draft boy from Houston. Y'all have a good one. Everybody have a great night. Peace.